It's probably the second draft is finished now, and Norman, who did the Slime and Punishment video, and he did the last Electrified Brain video, is my partner, full on now for the movie. And he's known for his effects. Like he worked for Rick Baker in the '80s, and he was on stuff from all his way back as like Gremlins 2 and all types of stuff. Just look up Norman Cabrera, and you'll see before I spend all the time plugging how great he is. But we wrote it together with another Scottish guy, actually, Jamie Thompson. The three of us finished my script.
Headbangers. Welcome back to the Headbangers podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Here today we're joined by Ryan from Municipal Waste. How are you doing, man? Start off with.
Doing great. Great to see you guys.
Good to meet you too, man.
Honestly, are we doing, just before I start, is this video recorded too? Like, are you airing the video? Because like I'll do all this animated stuff and pull out records, and then they go, "Oh, it's just for a magazine." And it's like I always love my energy, so I always ask.
Yeah, we have like an audio version that goes up on Spotify,
which
and
is fine,
the video version.
Yeah, I like seeing everyone's face.
Nice.
Yeah, it's more fun that way, I think.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
It's truly an honor, by the way. I don't usually fangirl about getting people on that often, but I've been a fan of you guys since I was like 15. So like,
that means a lot. Well, I'm in a great mood, so let's get you guys a real good interview. How about that?
Definitely.
Let's get the good vibes going. So start off with, we like to start off with a little icebreaker. What's your funniest tour story that you can remember? I feel like you guys must have quite a lot. So.
Man, I mean, you know who you're dealing with. I can't even talk about half the shit that's happened. I used to talk about when I used to drink a lot, and we were in Mannheim, Germany, and we decided this is like early waste stuff, and we decided to have a drinking contest on a day off. And I remember food was being beer bonged at one point. Like they would give us this like vegan slop. Like I think Tony like beer bonged some food at one point, and I just kept drinking, and I was going against the Germans, so they were really hard drinkers at that point. Yeah. And I wake up and I'm in the rain, and all my clothes are gone, and like my wallet and my shoes, and I'm on a couch in the middle of like a squat, like not naked but not dressed, the rain, the pouring rain, woke me up, and I just had to like piece my way back into the squat. Just like I found my wallet over by a tree, I found one boot over here, and I just made my way inside. And all my stuff was still there, but I guess I won the contest because everyone just left me out there and no one was around. So I just
it's like a real hangover movie situation.
Yeah, it just went back, just picking up the pieces. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of how it used to be, but we've kind of pulled it together since then.
Definitely, I always find it funny when you have like those like drunk memories where you get so like annihilated, it feels like you teleport. You're like, hang on a minute.
Time travel. Yeah, we call it time traveling. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like it's amazing what it can do, because it's like you even like the day after you're like racking your brain going, what the fuck happened? Like, and you're getting those flashes, but you never get the full story. So it's always quite funny.
Yeah, now in your 40s you just get anxiety and depression. So it's not you don't just bounce back.
Oh no, that happened. I'm only 24, and that happens to be now.
Yeah,
so
you're in for it. Wait 20 more years, man.
Yes.
I want to go into as well, like what I find always like really fascinating about you guys is how you sort of juggle super fast riffs but still have a lot of groove to them. So can you sort of take us through like what the writing process is like and how you actually juggle these two sort of sounds very well?
Well, I was never a super technical player, but I prided myself, I'm a lefty, on my speed picking. I think like I could probably play something as fast as possible, maybe not as noodly as possible, but I think being a bass player first before I was a guitar player gave me a good sense of rhythm, and I still probably play guitar like a bass player, so that I think keeps you in the pocket, and having a great drummer like Dave Whitty is also a huge asset. So it's like if he speeds up or slows down, I can kind of follow him live, and it's just kind of like you're riding a wave basically. Writing, I don't know, it just depends like whose tune it was or what we all contribute. Me, Nick, and Phil at this point are all contributing riffs, so we can pick it apart too much, but sometimes you just know if it's good, if it rocks, just let it go. don't
yeah.
overcomplicate it. You know, I definitely don't ever try to overcomplicate songs.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
mean, on the back of that, fucking Electrified Brain, absolute masterpiece. It's great to see you guys back again.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, what was like your favorite part of just creating this thrash piece, so to speak?
I liked integrating a lot of like heavy metal elements in it. I'm a huge like new wave of British heavy metal fan, and being able to add guitar harmonies now that we're a 2-guitar band was really fun. Like for Demoralizer, I was just telling Howard from the Bullocks podcast. It's like, see, he brought up that song. I was like, well, you must like Iron Maiden. It's like obvious, like just simple E standard harmonies that are just very effective. You know, if it's 2 guitars, and I had that song before Slime and Punishment. Even like I had most of those riffs, but we were still a 1-guitar band. And I was like, well, it's cool, but we need 2 people to make this really effective. So being able to do that now, it just makes so much more sense. So, and then having Nick do like more outrageous leads on this record, I think really took it over the top too. I do 1 lead on the record, and we don't take credit for who does what. So you got to figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a fun little game. Like we can all play it on. Where it's like,
what's funny is
that
this is a hint. Someone put it up on their review. They're like, look at the versatile guitar playing of, you know, in such a short period, how all across the board Nick goes. And it's like, I go, well, that's me and him trading off. And it's the one time on the record. I just was laughing because, you know, it's just like, let it be a mystery. But it was really funny. Well, I was like, oh, cool. I can do a little doodle here and there.
Oh yeah, I like as well when bands sort of do that way. It's like the rhythmic and lead will always just like switch things up to keep everyone on their toes. Like I feel like it shows a good sign of like a band gelling really well, because it's like if you can do that on the fly, you know, you've got good chemistry, and you know you've got good chemistry enough to do that.
Yeah, well, me and Nick we play in all the other bands together too, where I play bass and he plays guitar. So I mean, that's something that we just naturally have, you know, had together for playing together for so long.
Oh yeah, definitely. On like Brad's sort of on Brad's sort of point on the new album, what would you say was like the biggest challenge that you guys met whilst like writing the new album?
Well, it was during a pandemic, which I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah.
So that was, the world was challenged with, you know, everything being shut down. So it was a weird time to be recording. We went up to Philly to record, and everyone's masked up because it's a much bigger city than where we live. You know, we were being careful too, but that was the challenge, just the uncertainty. You know, you don't know what was going to go down. But the plus side of that is we had the time to write a record, which we never really do. We were always on tour and in a tight schedule. And sometimes, you know, I hate to say it, but some records were rushed in the past, you know, or you didn't get enough time to pay attention to the mix and whatnot. But this one we had all the time in the world because everything was shut down. So that's probably why it seems like a step in a, you know, hopefully in a better direction than some of the older records, because the time was there in the writing and in the recording.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel like it definitely does come through when you listen to the record, because it feels like everything, even down to like the placement of songs, seems like well thought. They all like flow into each other really well. I think that's like a really accidental benefit to the pandemic, because we've had like a lot of bands sort of come through, and it's like, you know what, it at least gave us the time to sit down and then look back at something and be like, I'm not really feeling that song anymore. Let's just kind of work on it a little more. So I found like now we've gotten a lot more like polished albums come through from everyone.
Yeah, hopefully that's the one plus of everything, you know. And we always write more than we need for the record, and there's some songs that didn't even make it. So there's some mystery songs out there we might do something with down the line.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One?
What's that?
Do you have a favorite one off the album that you treasure the most?
Yeah, well, you know, I'll be partial to stuff that I wrote because you're just proud of it. Like I really like Thermonuclear Protection, the last song on the A side, and then Demoralizer. I mean, I won't put out a record where there's a song I don't like on it. So I like all the songs. But those two right now, I mean, it's ever changing. I can't wait to play them live. We haven't played either one live yet. So we've been playing Gravedive. I mean, we knew we liked Gravedive out the gate. It just was a catchy song. That's why we led with the single. So we had been playing that for over a year live. And it's just one of those, like, even if you don't know it, you can get into it type songs. But yeah, I just can't wait to play some of these other new ones.
Oh, yeah,
I'm impressed with like how fucking consistent you guys are though, because like not many bands can just like drop an album every time, and it's always going to be good, and there's always going to be some like absolute bangers on there.
Glad you feel
It's
that
like,
way. Not everyone always feels that way. That's we appreciate that.
we're saying it like Electrified Brain, I'd say is probably my favorite after the Art Partying. I just think it's just,
So that's good.
especially because obviously I remember like Slime and Punish was at 2016. So like, you know, after all that waiting, like I think everyone just wanted that thrash album that was fucking kicked, and that was
cool, man.
Electrified Brain, man.
That.
I want to talk about as well, like when you guys first came out, you know, you were in that big thrash revival scene. You know, things kind of got stale for a bit through the 90s, or like, you know, a lot of shit was going on. Like, what was it like being in that resurgence? Because I know a lot of people would point to you guys and a few other named ones that would be part of that resurgence. Like, what was it like being in that time? And did you think it would become as big as it is now again, as it was?
Well, it definitely wasn't popular when we started, and it was one of those things where that's just the kind of music I grew up on. You know, I was still in my early 20s then, writing those records, and it's just what I want. It's what I wanted to hear, you know. And like, it was a terrible time for music. Like, new metal was popular, and who the fuck else knows? I just knew the late 90s was a lot of garbage. So I was like, well, this is what I want to do. I mean, you know, is there some like-minded people that want to just play fast and just, you know, don't follow any trends? And we really just set out to do our own thing. We didn't know it was going to be a resurgence, and it's still something I don't really pay attention to, like what other people are doing. So
Yeah.
I think Earache tried to make it like a thing like that and group us with other bands, especially in the UK, they're like, oh, you like these guys, you're gonna like these guys. And I think that was like a marketing tool in a way. So it wasn't even the resurgent thing is just something like a journalist would say, and the label would just try to get behind. So, you know, I just kind of worry about what I'm doing. But it turned out to be a cool thing, and a lot of people will say that we influenced them, and I always make sure that they check out the bands that influenced us, you know, like old thrash bands like Razor, Hollow's Eve, and, you know, the basics, Exodus and Accused and stuff that we were listening to when we were kids.
Oh yeah,
I feel
like thrash was always sort of there when you look back on it, like from people in like local scenes. Like thrash was always there. It needed like a bit of a push, and I feel like
in the ass,
yeah, I feel like a lot, like, you know, like you guys with a lot of other bands, like I probably say Power Trip is in there as well. Like really pushed like for thrash to really come back, and I think you guys did it in a really cool fashion as well.
And we're still here, you know, and a lot of it you can tell who was in it for the right reason, because they're, you know, we're still here, and it's just like the 80s when a lot of bands were sounding the same, and then they didn't last very long. So it's really just who stands the test of time, I think.
Oh yeah, and I feel like you guys as well stand out live, like because you're easily, like I saw you in Download 2019, and you were easily like the most fun like band we'd seen live. Like, especially with the let's see if we could break the record amount of people that crowd surfed again.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. We were just talking about that with Bloodstock. I think still has.
Yeah, I saw you guys at Bloodstock.
Oh yeah, Bloodstock's such a great festival too. So we had a great time doing that.
Oh yeah, like it's just Bloodstock's really cool. But honestly, you guys live, what is it sort of like keeping up that amount of energy, especially in like a long tour?
Well, we had to learn how to do it to a big crowd, because we're used to like the intimate club shows where someone's right here jumping off, you know, the speaker and stage diving. I think we learned how to work a bigger festival crowd, just, you know, trial by fire. You go, people are so far removed away from you. So we would do things like have a crowd surfing competition just to keep the crowd integrated with our show, because that's always been something, you know, we don't want a barrier between us and the audience. So when you play a festival, you have to think of clever ideas to break that, and then that's why we had that little competition.
Have you actually beaten like the Bloodstock one? Because I know when that happened, that was the record, and
yeah, it was like 711 stage dives. I literally was just talking to Howard over on his podcast about it. So yeah, I think the Bloodstock still is the reigning crowd champ.
Oh yeah, I hope you guys play again soon. I know you're playing our hometown in, I think it's October, November, Leeds.
What? Oh, in Leeds.
Anthrax,
we always have a good time in Leeds, man. You guys know how to do it over there.
Oh yeah, well, I think Leeds has some of the best venues as well. You guys need to check out like Boom. Boom's like easily one of the best.
Oh yeah, and that's with Anthrax, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's obviously the shows are with Anthrax. But yeah, I absolutely love Leeds. and it's sort of like little venues as well.
Yeah, it's a cool city for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I want to ask as well. I know you're a bit of a horror fanatic.
Yeah, I got a lot of
What would you
tapes over
say?
Some
Yeah, I
tapes
was gonna say.
all the way around. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Have you had like a certain film that's like, obviously you get inspired by music, there's bands that inspire you. You've always had the horror aesthetics of Municipal Waste. Like, has there been one particular horror film that's always inspired you throughout your life that you can
Yeah,
look
well,
back on?
before because I could talk about this for a long time, but before we get to that, do you guys know that I wrote a horror screenplay?
That was going
Oh
to be one of
really?
the other questions, actually.
Okay, because I finished it during the pandemic. So another positive of the pandemic is I finished
Yeah.
the screenplay I'd been
I was
working
going to
on.
ask you how far along you were, actually.
Oh
So,
well,
to it.
it's probably the second draft is finished now, and Norman, who did the Slime and Punishment video and he did the last Electrified Brain video, is my partner, full on now for the movie. He's known for his effects. Like he worked for Rick Baker in the '80s, and he was on stuff from all his way back as like Gremlins 2 and all types of stuff. Just look up Norman Cabrera, and you'll see before I spend all the time plugging how great he is. But we wrote it together with another Scottish guy, actually, Jamie Thompson. The three of us finished my script in Zoom form, just like this, just talking over the pandemic. So that's finished. There's too many movies that are an influence. I always have to credit Phantasm as being my favorite horror film. And, in Hazardous Mutation, we sampled Phantasm, Reggie Bannister's quote on there. But, there's so many movies to go into, but I really, just like music, it's like I wanted to do my own. So I'm taking elements from a lot of the heavy metal horror films, like Trick or Treat, Black Roses, Rocktober Blood, Shock 'em Dead. There's so many. You should check out these movies. I was always obsessed as a kid. If like there's a heavy metal band and a horror film, like it's just like the two worlds have collided of my favorite things. So I wanted to make a film that had that the whole time. So that's basically what's going to be going down with the movie. And my old heavy metal band Vulture is doing the soundtrack. So that was another last ditch attempt at doing that band. I was like, because that band had all the worst luck. We went to Europe twice and went through two singers, and our drummer sadly passed away, and all this stuff was happening against us. I was like, well, my last ditch attempt is going to be to write a script and have that band do the soundtrack, and then just make a huge production out of it, and that and then I can say I tried. So that's in honor of, really.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
It's definitely like it's so sick that you're doing that, though, to be fair. Like me and my girlfriend have actually been on like a really big horror movie like kick. Well, I say we have. I've been forcing her to watch horror movies because she hates them.
It's it's great when they humor you, man. That's a good girl you got.
Oh yeah, well we recently watched the Candyman remake.
Oh yeah, the remake. No, I never saw that.
So like it's actually really good, and like it plays off the original, because like I watched the remake and I was there like,
I got the original right here.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I watched the remake and I was like, I'll check out the original, and like it's like a direct sequel almost. I wouldn't even call it like a remake. Like
remakes really bother me, so I'm going to try to stay positive on this interview. But
yeah, me too.
The only good remake I think is The Thing, and people don't realize that The Thing, the John Carpenter The Thing, is a remake.
Yeah, because
The Thing from Outer Space, and I got both. Actually, they're both right behind me. So you got. Well, we got the backwards version, but yeah, The Thing, and then the Carpenter's Thing. So the John Carpenter's is actually a remake, and that's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, I like that version.
Practical effects. If you guys haven't seen that, get to work.
I remember my uncle made me watch the Thing when I was younger. Like,
and we have a song called The Thing, Waste on Hazardous Mutation. So we like it.
Yeah, like it's such a sick film. The most recent remake of The Thing, like the remake of the remake.
Well, then there's another, and I wouldn't say it's I think it's maybe a continuation, and that one's not that bad, but the Carpenter one's great. You guys are probably too young to enjoy the first one. It's even a little boring for me sometimes, to be honest. The Carpenter one is killer. Everyone should watch that. It's pretty well known, so I'm not giving you any inside information there.
Can you give us like a breakdown of the film then? That obviously you've written the scripts now.
No,
what's like
not on the interview. No, I don't trust anybody. No, we're I haven't even announced. I announced the title on a podcast that comes out next month because I'm still trademarking it and copywriting the title. I don't trust anybody, to be quite honest. And
No, that's fair.
Norman has been in the business for almost 40 years, and we're just trying to do it the right way. And we'd be here all night if I tried to explain it to you. And I feel like
I'll
we
just
need
watch
to
it,
get in
man.
production before we even. Yeah, we need to get in production. What you guys can do is you can help me raise some money for it. So hey, if you're out there, we're raising money for this film. It's written. We want to bring it to the masses. So when we get the fundraising campaign going, maybe you guys can help me over there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
if,
man,
if you
for
send
sure.
us a link, we can share it about.
So it all helps.
Yeah, definitely.
As a filmmaker myself, well, I like to do
You know
like,
how
short
you know the
films and
struggle.
stuff. I know
You
the struggle, yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
There's so many things
Norman
I wanna
always
do, but then
says
funding
the
them.
hardest special effect is to get funding, to make funding appear.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely. What would you say is your favorite horror movie soundtrack then?
Oh, easy. I got it framed right here. Ready? Fastway.
Oh, nice.
You know
Ooh.
this one? It's also my favorite Fastway record. So you got Fast Eddie Clark from Motorhead, obviously. I can give you some trivia about Fastway. It was supposed to be Pete Way from UFO and Fast Eddie. That's Fastway, Pete Way. And he never I usually set this up as a trivia question. I was like, how many records was he on? He wasn't on one record because contractually he couldn't play on the album with his record deal. But yeah, that's a great Fastway record. Here's another one. I got a couple records just out because I've been listening to them. So Edge of Hell, which became Rock and Roll Nightmare, which is Thor. It's kind of more on the silly tip of a movie. I still enjoy it thoroughly. I'm not knocking the movie at all, but the soundtrack's great. And actually, Aldo Nova sings on a lot of that. People don't know. He didn't get credit for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
that's
we
nice.
can do a whole heavy metal horror podcast if you guys want, because I am obsessed.
You're speaking our language.
They're just sitting right here. I mean, I'm in my media room, but that's what I'm listening to. So we're writing stuff, for the movie as well.
Oh, nice.
Awesome
nice.
stuff. Yeah. I'm excited to see the film actually when it comes out.
Yeah. So, in 30 years when it actually gets made, maybe we'll get to see it. Hopefully, shorter than that. But, I've actually been working on it since 2014. I've had the idea since then. So
how do you like when you're writing this script, and obviously it's becoming a long time, how do you get past the writer's block? Because whenever I try and sit down and thoroughly try and write a script,
I'll tell you,
I end up contradicting myself every time.
No, you should get a partner, because when I was typing it myself, thinking of the idea, thinking of dialogue, and then going down to the paper, you second guess yourself. But if you can free your brain from the part that has to type and have someone else do it, and you just spit out your ideas, that's when it got flowing. So I had a partner just typing, and I would just start talking. I had the outline since back then. And then he came in as a partner. This is Jamie, who used to work for The Guardian. He was like a great writer anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, fuck, let's just write this together. And then I met Norman, and then the three of us started working. So then we got me and Norman talking, Jamie typing, and we had the best time in this Zoom setting right here. This is what got us through the pandemic. And you're just laughing. We're like drinking, laughing, making up dialogue. So if you don't have a partner, I suggest that, if someone you trust, or even someone just to type, like a stenographer, and then you can just free up your mind for ideas.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's your advice for the day. I had to figure that out myself, because I will second guess to the ends of the earth, even if I think the idea is great, by the time you lay it down, you're like, oh, I don't know. So get a partner, man.
It's like you'll think of like maybe a beginning and an end, and it's like, oh shit, there has to be like 2 hours of everything else that goes in between. What do we do then?
The third act's the hardest. We're actually going to go back and tweak some stuff at the end, because even as a movie fan, you'll get to the end of the movie and be like, that's the ending. And then you try to write
it's the hardest thing to do.
It's the hardest thing to do. You're like, you got all the meat and potatoes, and then how do you wrap it up and with a bang? So we're going to go back and tweak it a little bit.
Yeah. When you play like The Viewer and stuff, you'll watch a film and you'll get to the end, you'll be like, oh, that's a shit ending now. But then when you actually try and write something yourself, like, fuck up, I understand now. It's actually pretty hard to end it.
Same thing I was saying, man. Yeah, it's the truth.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure.
And like obviously they'll have people that have done it for years, where that you got to think though, there's got to be so many films where they're like, how the fuck do we end this? Like it's just one of those things.
I watch a lot of documentaries. Like I was just watching one on the Friday the 13th movies. It's like Crystal Lake Memories or something. It's from 2013, and they'll write 3 different endings. So you can write like, and if you got the budget to film, multiple versions of your ending, once you see it, then you can choose one. So I think that's a good method too. Like always have different ideas. And a lot of it was like Tom Savini, like cooking up endings too. And like, oh, we could do this, and just like off the wall, like effects that they could do at the end. So yeah, write more than one, and then narrow it down, I guess, is another way to do it.
That's why I love stuff
definitely.
like Until Dawn, that game when you can pick all the different endings. So I suppose if you're
yeah.
not satisfied with one, you can just play it another 6
Choose
times
your
and
own
pick the one you
adventure.
want.
We used to read these books called Choose Your Own Adventure before, pre-internet or Black Mirror and that shit. And it's like, take the story to a different path. It's exciting.
It's interesting for sure.
Oh yeah, I used to play a lot of Telltale games that did that. Which like I got obsessed with just replaying them, and just being like, can I get every ending? And it's like there's so many like different little trees that you could follow. It's like even if you like chose to pick up a shoe in one section, it like would end a different way. It's like, it was quite fun. I kind of want to get into as well. Like, what would you say with Municipal Waste? What's the biggest difference to obviously when you guys formed to now, like as a band?
Man, like just taking shit more serious. Like because we would like not show up to the show on time and be like, oh man, traffic sucked, and we'd all have like fast food cups in our hand because we just didn't care. We would like just be late to the shows, and you just started getting like, you take it. I mean, I always took the music seriously, even though I was a kid. I'd always like, take the writing and everything seriously, but you just kind of you grow up in it, and you realize like, hey, you're putting on a show. You got to be on time. You gotta your performance counts every single night. You can't be just wasted up there because it's like one time, like this one kid's gonna see you. So you gotta pull it together every night. So we take it very serious in that regard.
It must be hard, like, with like the tour life. Like, I don't know. I always think like if I go on the tour life, you must just get so like infatuated with how it is, and then you just like lose track of things. Like, I don't know if that happens to a lot of bands, but
here's what's hard: drinking every night. Try that for 20 years, because
I can imagine.
It's gonna
I
kill
struggle
you.
now.
I was gonna ask that.
I'm doing like a sober month. I'm like 17 days sober right now. So just because I had the time off, like I wouldn't make it, man. If I go at the rate that I was going, like because I started drinking when I was a kid, like 13, 14 years old, I'm 42 now. It's just like, it wouldn't work, And then what's the point of that? Do you want to be known for drinking a lot or for writing good songs? Like, what's more important? So you start to question that. I've questioned it for a long time, and that's in the drinking. Anyone could be drunk, What good is that? So I don't want to be known for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you that actually, because it's like obviously like in the early days, you guys were kind of coined like party thrash, and it's like, do you ever feel like you still get a lot of people that still like come up to you after shows and it's like, oh, you're the party guys and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's become like a misconception.
Yeah, I mean, constantly, and we used to like, I mean, we did it to ourselves, so we deserve it, But yeah, it's still like that, and it's just like, I feel like here's a good rule of thumb. Like I go out and I hang out and talk to anyone. I'll take a picture with anyone. I'll sit and give anyone a minute of my time. But the minute you're negative and you don't want to do that, just stay the fuck in the backstage or your bus and don't bring that energy out to the crowd, because like you're gonna ruin someone's day. So like if I'm in a bad mood or just not feeling good, I just won't go out there. And you guys seem like you understand. Like, it's like you cannot drink at that rate and do it every night and travel and not sleep and expect to last. It's just not. I mean, I can't believe I've lasted this long, because it used to be an everyday thing for me.
Man, if I'm like hungover, like I do not want to see anybody.
Exactly.
Like,
so
even on the mornings. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm taking a break. And the hardest part is like keeping that break going once I get back on the road. So I'm not going to beat myself up if I want to have some drinks, but now that I have the time home, which I never do, I'm taking inventory on my health, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's always good to have that, because like I remember like when lockdown opened up here, like I got into a really bad habit of just always going out drinking, and it was one of those things after like a few like a couple months of doing it, you go, hang on a minute, you lose track of it, and you're like, wait a fucking minute, like why am I always going out on the weekend drinking? So I think last year I just decided Christmas is coming up. The lead up of Christmas, I won't drink at all. I'll try to avoid it as much as possible, and then Christmas Day I'll allow to have a drink.
Yeah, see,
and like I enjoyed it way more.
If you're figuring that out now, you're gonna do all right, man. It's like I didn't start taking breaks until like my late 30s, you know. So do it early, man.
Oh yeah, I find like when
sure.
you have a break as well, you enjoy it way more. Like a beer tastes better. Like it's just not you're not just shoveling it back to like just to get wasted all the time. You're actually drinking to enjoy it.
And NAs are getting better too. I mean, this is the old standby over here, the old duels, which I used to make fun of, like, oh, get some old duels. But it's like they've been doing it for a while. It actually tastes like beer. So I was, you know, if I feel like I really need one, and I've been doing that a little bit, and it's getting me through.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What is that beer like? Is it like an IPA?
It's
or
like
is
a
it just
beer,
like...
yeah. It's one of the oldest ones. It's the first one I remember. It's like an Anheuser-Busch fucking knockoff. So tastes like shitty Budweiser, which, you know, gets the job done.
Oh yeah.
It's
like
purpose.
There's some German ones that are good that I've had, like a Klaus Holler or something, that, and Stella makes one that's pretty good. And
oh yeah, German beers are all good.
It'll get you by, you know.
Yeah, well, it's like the non-alcoholic Heineken. That tastes unrecognizable to the other one, like to the actual alcohol.
I didn't like that one.
Really?
I'm turning into an NA snob now. I didn't like that.
See, like,
I like a regular Heineken.
Well, like when I go for like a phase where I'm like, I won't drink, but I'll have like a non-alcoholic one.
Yeah, I mean,
Heineken's
that's
always
all
a
personal
go-to.
taste to opinion. I don't know. Maybe I got a bad batch. I'll give it another shot.
Yeah, no, it's always a go-to because most places have.
Well, there's
it,
no booze in it. I was like, wait, no. That's the whole point, right?
So, like, you know, obviously, like, you probably had some crazy days then back in the day. What was like
a few weeks ago?
what's like the craziest like municipal waste party that you had? Because I imagine like you back in the day, you must have had like, for example, like the Breathe Grease video. Did you have anything like that actually happening?
Yeah, there has been. But I think you opened with that question, and I was like, I didn't want to start the interview out, but it's like my least favorite question. Everyone's like, "What's the craziest thing you've ever done on tour?" But I mean, we can talk about the video because that was a legit party, and we were on tour like 3 days into this big U.S. festival tour, and that was in Portland, Oregon. A lot of people think it was in Richmond where we live, but it was completely across the country. We threw it together, you know, on tour with a punk house that was gonna get evicted, called the Ranch. They used to do shows there and whatnot, but they're like, you guys can do whatever you want here. So we're like, really? We can do whatever we want? And we, you know, what you see in that video was all
famous
going
last words.
House, like, and it was fucked up, man. I mean, people were passed out in the yard. Like, Phil got fucked up and was barely in the video because we think someone might have slipped something in his drink or something. It was fucked up, man, and or just being not dehydrated all day. But
just one shoot.
That was one day, yeah, one afternoon,
wow.
All that shit, and we crammed it in. This I got to give credit to Whitey McConaughey, who did the video. He was so professional getting all those people in order to get all those shots. I mean, the party was crazier than the video, what you see there. So I mean, it was nobody's faking that, man. That was all going down.
So there was actually someone that literally like rode a bike down the roof, like straight to me.
We got a couple of professional like BMX guys that were out there that we knew, and you know, he got a jet ski in the kiddie pool, and then, you know, I don't even, then someone was, you know, in the house with their motorcycle doing wheelies and shit. I mean, all that was going on. We actually one of the guys from Jackass was in that. Our buddy Aaron, he goes by Danger Aaron. He's in the. Friend of ours, he hit me up yesterday. He was on tour with Steve-O. He was just in Richmond where I live, and he's like, "Oh man, I want to come out and hang out." And these guys are just music fans, just like anybody. And he's the guy who smashes a bottle on his head and, you know, rides through with the motorcycle. But we pulled, you know, anyone in the area that wanted to come out was invited out in Portland. You know, whatever 5, 6, I don't know how many years ago it was. 2017, I guess we filmed that.
It's mental that you brought up Danger Aaron, because I was literally about to say like like that video did remind me of like the old like. Obviously it's like
that's what it
reminded me of the old like the old Jackass like videos or the old CKY era stuff where it was like you just had mad stunts in a video like.
Yeah. Well, that was the vibe, and we even had some of the guys. So there you go.
Oh man, that's so
Stuff it
cool. I have to like watch a video after we're done and see if I can search for Danger Aaron somewhere, like see if I can see him.
Oh, yeah, he's like the guy who rolls up and breaks a bottle on his head. It's like plain as
Oh,
day.
nice. Oh,
That's
nice.
it, yeah.
So like, what would you say is been like your favorite municipal waste moment? Like obviously like outside of the party side of things, like just in general, whether it's like, you know, going to like when you went to like when you've been to the studio or anything
Like
like
an
that, what would you say
achievement,
is your
yeah.
favorite?
My favorite memory is probably the first time we went to Europe, and we were, 2004. Andy, our old bass player, is like my best friend, was still in the band, and we lost our drummer, so we had a fill-in drummer the first time we were in the UK and Europe. My friend Barry just filled in, and then we had like one of my other best friends is doing merch. So it's like me, Tony, Barry, Andy, Paul, and we're 4-piece back then, and we had no business like being out on our own out there, because like the first story I told you about waking up in the rain, like that's that tour,
Okay.
and if you go all the way back to the beginning of the pod, it seems like we're definitely gone over, but like I'm surprised we're alive after that tour, because we had no tour manager, no really, it was a DIY tour. We're basically driving ourselves around, and Annihilation Time, the band, was like a friend's band of ours was over there filming Annihilation Time 2, and we were partying with them. Everyone's on acid, and we're just like cruising through Europe, just getting up to no good everywhere, and didn't make any money, probably owed money for that tour still, and we just laughed and just like would just go through bars chanting and just stealing beer. But we figured that beer is like everywhere there. It's like flows like water in Europe, and that's all we cared about back then. It was like, oh, we'll play for beer, great, and there's never ending beer. This is the best place on earth, and like,
Must have been a sick time for sure.
yeah, and we were just kids, I was probably 24 years old, and you never think you're going to take your band all the way to Europe. That's such a huge deal the first time you do it. And it's still my favorite time we were over there, because it's like, wow, it's like we really thought we made it, even though we're just playing some like punk level tour, but it was like the greatest time.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like you mentioned like obviously like you all like you never think you'd take your band to Europe, because it's like the contrast as well. Like from whenever
It's the same coming to the States for you guys, yeah.
Yo, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like whenever I'm at like band practice or like that, we always sit there and go, "Oh, wouldn't it be so cool to get like
I think
go
it's
to a
harder to
North
get in the
American tour?"
States. I think it's harder.
It's so much harder.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. I've heard the horror stories, and I have a lot of friends that have gone through the visa stuff. Even like bands like Napalm Death still have a tough time getting in. Like Shane didn't get in the last time we toured over here with them. It's just like, come on,
crazy.
man. It's like, the US is a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, I think that's why it's such a fantasy for like obviously like any band on this side of the pond. 'Cause it's like it feels like if you do a North American tour, that's it, you've made it, sort of feeling like.
I mean, yeah, it's whatever is making it to you. Like that. I mean, to me, that if I just did that one tour in 2004, I'd be satisfied. Just the fact that we got over there, and now we've been over there 30 times since then. Who knows how many times? And at least they want us to keep coming back. One thing that the booking agent would say is like in Europe, it's like the more you come over, the better, and in the States, the less you play, the better.
Mm.
It's like the audience want it, and they also like want long sets and encores and in Europe, and we don't like to play more than 45 minutes just because of. I personally don't, because the intensity I think is gone after 45. Any band, I don't want to watch any band play more than 45. Maybe like Pink Floyd or something, where I could be on drugs and just sit down and enjoy it. But like, so people just are hungrier over there for that, and we try to give it to them.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and you do well, to be fair. So
Well, thanks.
yeah. Anyway, so we got one final question for you, which is just what advice would you give to your younger self, and what advice would you give to new musicians that want to start a band?
I would give the same advice I was giving to you down at the bottom, man. Is it Brad? Sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, it's Nathan.
I was saying to Nathan, because you're already kind of taking inventory on your health, like drinking less. And man, like I was going hard since I was a teenager. So if I could take some of these breaks that I'm doing now earlier, no regrets, man, for sure. I had a great time, but like, if you can start taking inventory on your health earlier, I'd advise it to any young buck out there. Because, we're not all lucky that, we've made it this far,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Drinking will do it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice, to be honest. 'Cause I think it's even as like young people, like I think we sometimes don't even notice that it can become a problem sometimes, or like
Yeah,
it
mental
can,
problem, man. Like
yeah,
it wears
absolutely.
on you, and you could have everything going for you, and it's like, okay, you're drinking, and then why do you feel sad or depressed? It's like it's because it's in there, it's built
Yeah.
in. So
And we've almost like memed the culture as well. Like it seems like a meme to go out and get drunk and
I
stuff
mean,
like that
I've
on the weekend.
influenced kids the wrong way for a long time. I might start telling them the right thing to do. Probably because I'm like 2 weeks sober and I feel like I'm all fucking perfect, but I'm definitely not, man.
None of
Yeah,
us are.
like
Yeah.
I found like now that I've started taking breaks, I feel a lot better, like mentally.
Oh, you'll feel
Like a
great.
lot of
Like,
the time, like
Mm.
that break just clears your head.
I'd probably have a fucking bad attitude. I probably wouldn't be nice to you guys. But it's definitely it's easier. You find yourself having more patience with people and being more positive. So
Yep.
it's definitely there's a total bonus to it.
Oh yeah,
No,
definitely.
absolutely. No, it's been an absolute pleasure to have on. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's been
well, thank you
pretty
guys,
surreal
man.
for both of us. Yeah,
Well,
thank
that's
you. And
fine.
I honestly can't wait to see you guys again because you just know how to throw down. So proper
It's
excited.
going down in Leeds, right? And then where you live, man, down there.
I live in
City centre.
Seacroft. Brad lives in the city centre, so he's the lucky one.
Yeah, I've
Okay,
got no
well,
excuse
come on
not to
out,
go,
man.
to be fair.
Come on down.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going down. Why is it? We actually like 2 weeks ago. I think it was announced like pretty like a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Like when it was announced, the drummer from a band and quite a few of us are on about going down because we're massive fans of you guys and also massive fans of Anthrax as well. So
You can't
I
lose,
feel like
man.
it's the perfect show for us.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, it's going down.
Yeah, wish
All
you
right,
best of
boys.
luck and can't wait to see your horror film as well.
Yeah, spread the word.
Yeah, it's
Will
been
do.
absolutely great having you on, man.
Take it easy, guys.
Take it easy.
Take care. Have a good one.